Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is my channel where I talk about everything real estate marketing, real estate lead generation, tips on how to grow your business. And today I have a special guest with me, and I'm going to do a little bit of a conversation here to bring some of our strategies and things that are working in our business to the forefront so that you can learn them too. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam. I'm a real estate marketer, real estate agent with EXP Realty, and I'm also a kvCORE peer coach. And if this is your first time coming to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the notification bell to get more information on content like this. And if you have questions at all as we go throughout this conversation, as always, leave it in the comment section below and I'll be happy to answer them. And so I want to take a moment to introduce my guest, Helly Flowers. She's a fellow agent as well in the Greater Toronto area, but she's also a friend of mine. And thank you, Helly, for being here. And I'm super excited for Helly to join me in this conversation because it's a little bit different. This is going to get a little personal as well. This is not going to only enhance your business side of thing on a professional life. Some of the stuff we're going to bring to the forefront here, it's going to maybe touch on some of the stuff on a personal perspective, changing the way that you think and the way that you approach business relationships. And that's what it's done for me, certainly. And I want to be able to kind of bring some of that conversation out today. So thank you, Helly, for joining me. I want to acknowledge that you're here. Maybe I want to allow a space for you to give an introduction about yourself as well.
Oh, Tharmila, thanks so much for inviting me and having me. Yeah, so as you may recall, you and I met through your fabulous real estate book club
Yeah.
for realtors, real estate
Yeah.
agents. And we did meet through a mutual friend who'd recommended the club to me, thought I might enjoy it, which I absolutely do, and have thoroughly enjoyed our friendship.
Thank you, Helly. Likewise, honestly, sometimes I tell my husband Josh all the time this as well, that there's some people that you meet and it's right off the bat you're like we were meant to be, and I've learned so much from you, and I'm beyond grateful to say that I'm happy to call you a mentor, a friend, and my accountability partner. And so that's what this call is all about today. And I want to talk about this concept called WAM, is what we call it, weekly accountability meeting, that Helly and I do every single week. And we've done this for close to a year now of doing this and this concept. And I want to give a moment to kind of talk about what WAM is, and how this can really enhance and change your life. Because I started this book club about a year and a half ago, specifically for realtors, so that we're able to read books that are not just pertaining to real estate, but business, and also about life and mindset and the brain and all sorts of things that could eventually and can enhance the way we do our real estate business. And we can talk about it from a client perspective, etc. And then obviously, from I'm putting on this book club, there's a Facebook group that you can join. So even if you don't come to any of our book clubs, so we do it once a month. Why I recommend this book club so much is because I bookmark all the books that we read and that we've read. And so you can go and find the book club, the list, and which is a good extensive list of how we can enhance your life. And there's some really fun books in there. And one of which is the 12-week yearbook. And also Brian Tracy talks about this concept in his book as well. Brian P. Moran, his book, he talks about this concept of WAM, which is the weekly accountability meeting. And there are different ways that you can really structure this meeting. You could do it, of course, weekly, and they suggest that you do it right at the beginning of the week, and short, 15 to 20 minutes. And it's to have to be more of a supportive, collaborative people that you have in this call. You want to make sure there's a good handful of people, but not too many, and somebody that can support you, challenge you, encourage you. And I think Helly and we found that in each other. And I think this came out to be the best thing because there's two of us, and trust me, many times it goes above the 30-minute to an hour mark. Is because we're spending a lot of time on catching up and sharing information about our personal life. But Helly, when you think about WAM, what kind of concept comes to your mind?
hmm Well, for hours, and I can speak to that, what I appreciate is when we open, we start with kind of what's at the top, on the top front burner. You know, what's top of mind, what's most pressing, what's going on just right now. And after we've brainstormed that, or, vented that, or whatever we need to do, then we move on to kind of what we spoke about the last time and what our intentions were for this week past. And we come back and check in on that. whether it's a health related thing, a work related thing, um, just a personal expression or whatever, hobbies that we want to pursue, anything at all. And it's a life thing, and that of course impacts our business. It impacts how we approach every day. So that's what I really appreciate about our structure.
I agree. And our structure, why I love it so much is because we're not specifically talking about it from a, real estate business, a structure, working with a buyer, seller, client. I'm not just coming to you specifically about, hey, I have this transaction and how do I approach it, which we do talk about, and
Yeah.
clients. But I love that we take it to the next level, things that you necessarily wouldn't take it to a broker, where it's about relationship. Hey, I was speaking to this client of mine, and we were having this, and how would we approach it? But I will tell you, some of my favorite times working with you and the way we structured this that I want to point out is Helly and I, this is one of our favorite book. It's called U Squared, and it's by Price Pritchard. I highly recommend you read this, and I recommend everyone read this. And trust me, if you're not a book lover, this is one book you can read because it's only 35 pages long. And we, every meeting when we can, and we've done this consistently, we've gone through this book, I believe now twice. Now it's the third time, I believe. And every chapter, because it's literally a page or maybe a two, that's it, and we read it in our call, and we take turn reading it out loud, and then we point out a couple of things, and it's a good reminder because this book, again, it captures so many aspects of business and life. And so we found it to be a really good book. And then the other one we've done in the past is The Greatest Salesman. This book, it suggests that you read the same, they call it a scroll, but a chapter, let's say, consistently for 30 days at a time. So Helly and I challenged each other to do that, and sometimes it stuck, sometimes it didn't. And then the other one too we read is one of our favorite, is Dan Sullivan's book, The Law of Lifetime Growth, as well. So this is a really good structure that I can suggest, that maybe if you find somebody that is in your circle who you trust, who's kind of maybe in the same profession as you, and maybe they don't have to be, but you can find a common ground. But these are some really good ways to kind of structure your WAM. And the other thing about my WAM that I wanted to, before I allow you to give some of your suggestions as well, that I love is about our WAM that is super amazing, is because we dive into, for example, I talk about parenting, me being a mom. I've asked Helly many questions. Hey, I'm struggling with maybe my laundry or systemizing that, or or I have this issue with the client. How can you, do you have any feedback? And also Helly accompanied me to door knocking. And so I think we found companionship beyond just meeting and holding each other accountable in that 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And do you find, Helly, in terms of the structure, is there something that you love, that you think is very important, that why other people should take this on and run their own WAM?
Sure. Yeah, 100%. I think WAM, a weekly accountability meet, is so beneficial for anyone who wants to shed some light on some aspect of their life. It's
Mhm.
a way that we can possibly, if we're open to it, have someone point out our shadow sides that are harder for us to see, and just to focus on that, even if it is only from a perspective of awareness or to an action plan. It can be any of those. You can make it what you want or need and make it very tailored, very personal, but it's an excellent place to go for a safe, because you need to be with people that you trust. A,
Exactly.
a safe place to come and bring yourself to the table and just say, I would really like to either improve this, or, let me take a look at this and just examine it.
Yeah, and I can only speak from, what's really worked in our relationship. For example, when we read the 12-year book, 12-week year book, I remember, every week I wanted to work on something. And so I want to be, drinking 8 cups of glasses of water, or this particular project's about getting this course out. It was great because I can be like, hey, Helly, can you, hold me accountable to this? And I know you taught me this, hold you aware. Another word for accountability that I love. And so things like that is, I think, is super instrumental in kind of moving yourself forward in whatever that you're working on.
Mhm.
And when you talk about why people should take this on, I one of the thing that that I also loved was, remember the Hal Ellard's book, where the Miracle Morning, where it is suggested you sent out a personal a message out to everyone, or 10 people in your contact that you would hand choose, that you
Yes.
trust, that know you well. And we did that. We challenged each other to do that, where we chose a couple of people in our network and we sent out an email asking people for their constructive feedback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought that was really impactful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there are so many strategies, and the other piece about a WAM is that you can brainstorm other ideas and other methods to employ, and then just run with it. Give it a shot. You've only got information and support to gain and nothing to lose.
Absolutely. And, quoting the book that we're just recently reading right now, by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, there's a beautiful saying in there where he quotes Emerson and he says, every man we meet is, they're superior because I will learn something of him. And you know, same concept applies here. And to be honest, I got really lucky finding Helly, because not only are you immensely kind, but super, super intelligent and wise. So I think, to me, I just, hit the jackpot when it comes to finding the partner, and your realtor. You're in my market. And on top of that, folks, she's not even in my brokerage. Like, you can find people who can be, some people may see this as a competition, and we see nothing but friendship. And if anything, she accompanied me for door knocking, and I've given her leads, right? we so I think for us, is this relationship is it's beyond, just a business partner, or you know leveraging each other because we're both self-employed and we happen to read this book, and we read at the we met at the book club. It become a true friendship, and I've gone to Helly's beautiful home, so that's another bonus. So, yeah, and I think that structuring your WAM in a way that is really beneficial. And I will say that every time we meet, it's evolving, and we're taking on different challenges, or we
Mhm.
talk about different things, and now we're seeing each other more often, and wanting to go to, Millcroft Inn, or going to the island and seeing each other in person, and is because you can craft this to however you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Whatever feels right, go with it. And some people may want to make it just strictly a business accountability session.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
You
Do
got
it.
it.
Yeah, do whatever works, whatever is required for you,
Yeah.
just make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that we made it ours became often personal is because of that friendship we found in each other. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. If you want to keep it purely professional, and if you want to find a fellow realtor in your brokerage office, and if you want to run by ideas or keeping each other accountable, hey, have you done your door knocking? Have you done X amount of calls today? That would be a really good setup as well. No, great idea. Absolutely. And the last question I have for you, Helly, is how has this meetup, this WAM, this weekly accountability changed your life? And I want people to take kind of the impact out of this as well, and I think that consistency in how we meet.
Sure. Great question, Tharmila. So for me, it has definitely made me more mindful and thoughtful
Mm.
in all aspects of my life. And then a place to, as I said earlier, to bring it safely, to say, I would really like to examine this, and perhaps I want to change it, perhaps I don't. But I'd like to at least, I've been pondering it, I've been considering it, looking at it, and let's see where it goes. Typically, in my world, it ends up being I want to improve it. That's kind of my baseline generally. And I like the 1% better rule. If
Mm.
we can just increase by 1%, that's a win. And micro wins count. So that's
Absolutely.
the impact it's had for me is greater self-awareness, which I really appreciate. Then thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh no, I thank you. And it's so interesting because what we both get out of this friendship and these meetings are so immense but so different for each other.
Mhm.
And what I come to speak to Helly about is completely different what she comes to talk to me about. So I think that is a bonus for each other because it's so customizable for our own needs as well, which is so perfect. And to kind of throw that back question at me, I think immensely, Helly, this, I look forward to this day out of the week every time, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And every time I meet with you that same evening when I'm talking to my husband Josh, I'll be like, Helly and I were talking about this today, and then I'll share whatever that was, that one or two things that came out of it. For example, that quote that I have literally printed right in front of me on my wall: every encounter is holy, respond accordingly, was given to me and through Helly. So things like that when you find something, you get to share it in our group, and it gets to live with me. And one of the things that changed my life and my business, this WAM, and that's why I speak so highly of it, is because of the way that it's my awareness, like you said, Helly, but for me is all aspect, like every encounter.
Mm-hmm.
It's allowing me to, and my it's beyond me. I almost feel it's almost mystical, almost. I have a really good understanding of how powerful I am and my thoughts, and
Oh,
I
thank you.
wouldn't have been able to really dig into that and deeper if it wasn't for our WAM and our book club meetings as well, because I think they're usually such a good meeting, because not a lot of people come, and usually would always be Helly and I. And I think that's another reason why it's strengthened as well, is when
Mhm.
the same people consistently keep showing up, you build a stronger relationship.
100%. Yeah, I would second that and agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think and I wanted to point this out to folks, is that when you have an accountability meeting set up, of course consistency is more important, and being committed to that relationship. And obviously I have young children, so sometimes they get sick, or and Helly and whatever, we have things that come up in our life. We always work together to find another time in that same week to see if we can fit it in. And if we can, of course, we'll meet the following week, especially if it's a holiday, like a family day or something, where both of us are busy and have plans. So that's such a suggestion that I wanted to put it out. But anyways, thank you, Helly. Is there anything that you want to add before we close the call or the conversation?
I think we'd fairly covered it off, Tharmila. That yeah, WAM is it's a great thing. It's so flexible, it's so adaptable. You can be so tailored. I would definitely strongly recommend it to anybody on any level of conversation.
Absolutely. And also, if any of you that are looking to join our book club or even join the Facebook group so they can get the book list, I highly recommend you do it. The link is going to be in the description below. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions about anything we talked about, feel free to ask in the comment section below. And if there's something that I can't answer, if you want to ask Helly, you can definitely leave in the comment section and I'll pass it on to Helly as well. And also, once again, Helly, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time to do this. I know this is it's my way of challenging Helly to get in front of the camera. So this is,
Well done, Tharmila.
you
Mission
know,
accomplished.
no, you were great. Thank you. This has been awesome. This is what this is all about. And for all of you that are watching, thank you so much. If you've gotten this far, we really appreciate it. And tell us what one of your favorite books that you've read. And if you read any of this book, or if you do this, and if you run your own WAM, what is it like? What's your structure? We'd love to learn it, because Helly and I are always looking at new ways of doing things. And in Helly's words, she always tells me that any of the book we read, you could take one book and you could truly live it, and you can read it again and again. So I would never say that this, you have to read all of them. You can even choose one of the books that we've read, and it could completely change the way you live your life. I truly say that, because I feel like the last year and a half I've become a different person. So thank you, Helly. Thank you everyone for joining once again. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get updates on more content like this, and hit that like button if you enjoyed this content. I'll see you next time, and thank you, Helly.
Thanks again, Tharmila.
Bye.
Bye.